question number one. When did you take over the softball program?
I took over in the spring of 1997. I took over for Coach Todd Randall, who went to the University of Hartford, and I was actually the assistant baseball coach at the time. And I was asked by a few of the softball players if I could be the head coach, and the AD agreed, and that's when I got the job.
And what made you interested in going from baseball to softball? Because you had like a long history in baseball, and they're similar sports, but still quite different. So what made you interested in that?
Well, you want the totally truth? You want the
Yeah.
total honesty?
Yeah.
A full-time paycheck. At the time when I was coaching with the baseball team, I wasn't getting paid anything. I coached 6 years with Coach Subrick here at Bonaventure and never got a dime. And was looking for a baseball job, but then the softball job came open. And I played fast pitch softball for a long period of time, never coached women. But when the women asked me to coach, and I knew there was a full-time paycheck involved, I jumped at the opportunity. I've been here ever since.
Where did you play softball at?
I play here in town. I played on travel teams. We travel around the country, different states and things like that, playing fast pitch softball. And that was basically, and then I played here in town, usually on Mondays and Thursday nights.
Where did you go to school? Like, what's your background in athletics?
Went to Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida. That was my first college, and played baseball down there. Spent 3 years there and came home only because not because of baseball, but because of school. Finished up school at St. Bonaventure and played 1 year here as a baseball player. At the same time, I was, like I said, in the summertime, I was playing baseball. I was playing fast pitch softball. I was playing slow pitch softball, so I was playing every day of the week. So.
No, moving forward now into like your coaching, what do you look for when you recruit student athletes?
I look for a student athlete. I obviously, when you talk about bringing kids to St. Bonaventure, I want somebody who's intelligent first. I think it plays a better role in their softball skills as well. The more, the smarter they are, the easier it is to teach people usually. We look for a student athlete who's strong academically and strong athletically. Um, but definitely there's a certain type of individual that wants to come to St. Bonaventure, and we're always looking for that type of individual.
And where do you usually recruit most of your players from?
Well, I mean, out of necessity, and is usually New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New Jersey, that area, basically the Northeast, and we do that because of the scholarship limit that we have.
Okay. What are some of your top moments as a coach?
Well, to be honest with you, my top moments are every day I come to work. I've never woken up in the morning and said, you know what, I don't want to go to work today. Because to me, it's not work; it's something that I love to do. Um, if you want to narrow some things down, obviously we had some pretty good runs in the Lang 10 championships here a couple years back. Beat some very good schools. But like I said before, I think it's every single day that I get to come to work. That's the best time that I can have.
When's the first time you ever made the A10 championship?
I look, 2005. We made it 2005 was the first time. We came close a couple other times, but that was the first year. We had a pretty good run, and hopefully we're going to be getting back on track here pretty quick.
Now, what was it like the first time the school ever went? Like, how did that feel for you?
It was exciting. It was something that I've been waiting for, and I knew that was going to happen. I think probably the people around me were a lot more excited than I was at the time. At the time, I'm just coaching for that goal. I mean, that's the whole thing. So I'm not really thinking about the history of it. It really comes down to it was more exciting actually when it was all said and done. We played that last game, and we did get knocked out, but we played extremely well when we were there. It's taken some other schools maybe 2 or 3 appearances before they even win their first game. We did that when we first got there, so it was good to see.
What are some of the best players that you've had? You talk a lot about Brianna Bricker and Joelle, but who are some of the people that really stick out to you?
Well, I think overall, I mean, if you talk about some of the best players ever coached here at Bonds, I mean, one of them is Jen Bovee. Actually, Jen's going to be going into the St. Bonaventure Hall of Fame here pretty soon. So she's going to be inducted this summer. So she's obviously very good. And then Kim Dotson probably was the best all-around player I ever had, whether it be academics and athletics. I mean, she was an academic All-American twice. And she was student athlete of the year for softball in the Atlantic 10, and she also led the Atlantic 10 to hitting. She was very good at what she did. So, and Joel and Kristen Brunetto were very strong. And I mean, there's a long list. Lori Stone, I can keep going. There's people on this team this year that could very well qualify for that. Come time, history will tell. But from my standpoint, I love every single one of my players. Especially the ones who stick it out. 4 years is tough to play at this level. So you make all 4 years, you're worthy of any kind of consideration for that title. So.
Now, where are some of the places that you've been, according to the softball team? Obviously, this year we were in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other places that you've gone to?
For St. Bonaventure, well,
Yeah.
we've been all over. I mean, we went to Hawaii, been to Florida. We've been almost in every state on the East Coast, and a lot of them in the Midwest. We haven't taken any. Hawaii was the biggest trip we've ever taken. Usually we're in Florida. We're down. We've taken a big trip around Florida one year where we just kind of stopped in Orlando and Tampa and Central Florida and everywhere just to play different teams. That was kind of fun. Played some very good teams that trip. So North Carolina, South Carolina, you name it. On the East Coast we've been there.
And how do you think the softball team at Bonaventure compares to those teams that you travel to and visit and you play during that spring training?
Well, you can't tell initially because a lot of those teams that you're playing down south, especially the teams that are located down south, have been outside since January. So we're getting outside for the first time. So I'd like to be able to compare them at the end of the year. I'd like to play them again. Toward the end of each season to see exactly how much better we got during the year. But for the most part, we've competed. We've competed. We've taken some hard shots too. But we won a Virginia Tech tournament. Back in the day, we played some very good teams then. Virginia Tech was good then. We won their tournament. We won a Hampton University tournament. We beat a Seton Hall team that was very strong. We won some tournaments in the past. So we matched up pretty well.
Now, do you think if Bonaventure had the facilities where maybe obviously we can't get outside because of the weather, but if we had the facility of an indoor field or something like that, that would improve the team?
Yeah, I think it would help. I don't know. I think it would improve obviously the initial shock of being on the field for the first time. Butler Gym just doesn't cut it. Especially for your first round balls of the year. So a bigger indoor facility would obviously help. But even a turf field would help. I mean, an outdoor facility where we could get outside maybe a couple days just before we leave would help probably more than anything.
Now, talk a little bit about Hawaii. What made the trip so exciting, and why did you decide that this would be the year that we did go there?
Well, Hawaii was on my mind for a long time. I actually had a trip planned way back in the day, and I don't like to bring up history, but we had a little bit of basketball scandal here now, a few years back, and we were going to go that year, and we were unable to go because of that. They said, it probably wouldn't look good if we took a trip then. So we didn't go that year. So I told myself and I promised myself that at some point in time I would take the team to Hawaii. This team was the team that was able to go, and I thought this team would probably be the best suited to go. We didn't win any games, but I think it gave us good experience. A lot of distractions in Hawaii, but I really liked the trip, and I think it made us better as a program, especially for the long haul.
Now, last summer you got to travel to Australia with
Yeah.
the USA international team. Talk a little bit about that one.
Well, that one kind of come out of the blue. Joe DiPietro from Temple gave me a call looking for players to go, and I jokingly said to him, I said, "Well, you need an assistant coach," and he goes, "Well, you're going." He goes, "And you're the head coach. I'm not doing it." And I was like, "I'm not doing it. You're doing it." So we had this debate, so we decided to go. And we took 4 Bonner players. He took 3 Temple players, and he had a young lady from Auburn. We had other players from smaller schools, and had a wonderful time. It was one of the best experiences of my life, especially we played in the U.S. Olympic, or not the U.S. Olympic softball, but the Sydney Olympic softball stadium, where the U.S. team played during the Sydney, Australia Olympics. We were able to tour a lot of the country, especially on the east coast of Australia. So, and I think the 4 ladies that went, I think it made them better. I think it made them better softball players. It gave them an understanding of, what type of stuff they have to do. It was real exciting. We're all friends to this day. We all see each other and talk to each other every now and then. So it's good to see.
And you're going to take another trip this year to Holland.
Yeah.
What does that mean to get to go and do this sort of thing again?
Well, I think they were looking for somebody who, when I got back from Australia, I guess I got pretty good reviews from our guide from Australia. They asked me to take the Holland trip, and I said, yeah, sure. And so never been over that part of the world, and I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. So I'm excited about that too.
So now getting back more towards what you do, what do you think the toughest part about coaching is, and what do you think the best part about it is?
Well, I think if I can start with the best part first, I think the best part is just the reward of watching people grow up. I mean, being and not just on the softball field, but just as an overall person. You watch them come in as freshmen, and half of them don't even know which way's up. By the time they're seniors, that life experience has moved them toward their next goal in life. I hear back. I got a call yesterday from Kristen Brunetto, just asking me how I was doing. A couple questions about softball. She's coaching up in Rochester area. Anna Negro called me yesterday, or actually this morning. I was talking to her. She's at Mount St. Mary's, the head coach there. And I get contacted by a lot of people. A lot of players that were formerly here. So I think that's the best part. The best part is making those friendships for life. With whoever. Whether it be the kids or whether it be the kids' parents. I have a lot of friends. A lot of parents are friends now. Lifetime friends. So that's the best part. And the worst part, I guess, at times you have to deal with the fact that you have to disappoint some young ladies. Whether or not it didn't work out for them, you might have to cut them. You might have to let them know that there's no place left for them on the team. Those are the toughest days. I mean, you don't never want to do that to somebody. But I know at St. Bonaventure they're going to be okay. When they leave here, if they're not playing softball, they're still going to get a great degree and they're going to move on with their lives. So I think that's the toughest part of the job. It's the part you don't never want to do.
How do you think that Bonaventure compares to the other schools in the A10 as far as the softball team, and not just off the field but on the field?
Well, it's St. Bonaventure is a small school. I mean, LaSalle and St. Joe's and a lot of the schools, we're very small. Um, you know, we've been successful in the past. So I mean, we can say that we can do it. I mean, every team in Bonaventure has been successful at some point in time. I mean, maybe outside of a couple, but we've all been successful at times, so we know we can do it. The challenge is that you can't. It's hard to sustain that. You have to get the right group of players. Whether it's a swim team, whether it's softball, whether it's baseball, whether it's basketball, you have to have the right group of players for St. Bonaventure because it's such a small school. And you get a lot of changeover. A lot of kids come to St. Bonaventure. I think initially, with dreams of playing. And then they decide, well, you know what, I might not be playing as much as I want to, and they kind of look around. And they go, well, there's not much to do. So a lot of times they'll end up leaving. So we have some changeover there. Where maybe in the bigger cities, the kids will stick around. Um, but overall, I think St. Bonaventure matches up pretty well. I think the only thing that we need is a little bit more support. Um, I think in the scholarship area and maybe in the facility areas, just to allow us to catch up to what the rest of the Atlantic 10's been doing over the past few years. Because the conference is definitely getting better and better in every sport. And St. Bonaventure is hopefully starting to recognize that. Actually, I think they are.
Okay, my last question
Mm-hmm.
is the season's winding down, 4 games left, chance to make the A10s.
Mm-hmm.
But looking into next year, what do you think about this team excites you the most, and do you think is gonna help you next year, especially with the group of incoming freshmen?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is we don't have a chance to make the
We
A10s.
don't.
No,
Oh.
we're already out. However, that being said, we still have a chance to be pretty successful record-wise. We're playing St. Joe's and Temple, who are two of the top teams in the conference. So we can make a statement right then and there and just say, listen, you know what? We might have started slow this year, but we're gonna start fast next year. So hopefully, if we finish strong, we can make that kind of a statement. So I believe this team's capable of doing that. I mean, we just beat Charlotte. That's the first time we beat Charlotte. Since maybe the first year they got in the conference, and we beat them in Atlantic 10 championships in 4-1 games. So, so that was nice. And we had some other close games against Fordham. 1-0 loss. Obviously, you know very much about against UMass. And we had to look back on it and say, you know what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs difference, and we're in the championships. So there's a lot to be excited about. Especially if the players are excited about it. So the next couple of days are going to go a long way. With the incoming freshmen that we have, we brought in a couple different types of players. Some speed is going to help, and just every time you get that fresh attitude coming in, a lot of times it helps. But I'm excited about the group that's coming back next year. I was excited about this year. You know, it's just weather-wise and, you know, and just a slow start, you know, it got us. And you know, like I said before, you can't do that. I mean, you have to beat your best every single day.
Anything else for them?
No, I think that's it. Just hope everything goes well.
Cool, thanks.